In this tutorial, I'll be sharing with you the various ways that you can publish out your Quizmaker quiz. Whether you want to publish your quiz out to the web here, or you simply want to give your client a Word document so that they can review the specifics of the quiz, Quizmaker has you covered. So let's head on over to Quizmaker right now and show you what options you have for publishing your quiz. I'm here in Articulate Quizmaker, and to access your publishing options, simply click the Publish button, and the dialog will open. Now you have several options here. We can publish to Articulate Presenter, to the web, and you'll see some options here, which we'll be covering, to Articulate Online, to LMS, CD, and Microsoft Word. Let's take a look at each of these in order, and we will start with Articulate Presenter. Now, Articulate Quizmaker integrates beautifully into Presenter. I can either insert a quiz from Presenter itself, or if I'm here in Quizmaker, I can insert this quiz into an Articulate Presenter presentation. Now, I have gone ahead and I have an open presentation here right now, and so it is active on my desktop, and so that's why it is present in this dialog box. However, if I don't have one open, I can use this browser icon here to go and open up and find a presentation that I want to insert this quiz into. Then I can choose, how do I want to insert this quiz into this presentation? Is it going to insert as a slide in my PowerPoint or as a tab in the player? I'm going to go ahead and choose inserting it as a slide. I select Publish. I'll receive a dialog that says congratulations. And when I come over to my PowerPoint, you'll notice here, so we're in Presenter now, that this dialog box is open with quizzes and interactions. And I can make some choices regarding this quiz's behavior, the quiz properties within this presentation. So I'll do that right from here. I get to choose what happens when the user passes and fails. Where do they go? Do they go to a different slide? Does the window close? Do they go to a URL? When do I allow the user to leave the quiz? So once the quiz is started, do they have to complete it, or can they leave the quiz at any time? What about viewing slides after the quiz? And how do we display it in the menu? So should each question be an item in the presenter menu, or should it just be a single item in the menu? So those are all some items that you'll want to play around with in terms of the quiz properties here in Presenter. But I select Close, and now you'll notice that I have my quiz right here within the presentation. So let's head back over to Quizmaker here and come back to Publish and take a look at option number 2, which is the web. The Publish to Web option allows you to take your Quizmaker quiz and put it out there on the web for people to interact with. Now you have some choices here. The thing to keep in mind is that the output from Quizmaker at its base form is going to be Flash in nature. So it's going to play great on most browsers on a desktop or laptop device. However, on a mobile device, many mobile devices don't support Flash. So what you'd want to do is you would want to include HTML5 output. Also, if you know that your learners are going to be on the iPad, Articulate has a beautiful mobile player app for the iPad. So if you'd like the iPad app to be present, the information for that, to play on that app, then select Use Articulate Mobile Player on the iPad. And related to that, if you want the learner to be able to download your quiz via the player for offline viewing, then have that selected also. So once you do so, once you publish this out, you'll receive in the output folder these files. Now, the quiz file is the one that you're going to want to target. So what will happen is that will launch, and it'll actually identify if the learner is on an iPad, for example. It'll open up a dialog that says, do you want to download the app? If you'd like to directly target HTML5, if you know that most folks are going to be on mobile devices, then you could directly target this as your launch file. So that's a little bit about working with publishing for the web. Now let's move on and take a look at Articulate Online. If you have an Articulate Online account, publishing is really very easy. Simply input your account information, so your URL, your email, your password. Choose the player, the quality, and then the reporting. So how do you want this reported in terms of the reporting and tracking options in Articulate Online? So you've got some choices there. You also have these same choices up here right above in terms of the HTML5 output, and then using the mobile player on the iPad. The great thing is that the Articulate mobile player and Articulate Online communicate beautifully together via Tin Can, and so you have the opportunity to, using the Articulate mobile player, to have your learners taking these quizzes and reporting to Articulate Online via that tin can protocol. Next up, we have LMS. Now, LMS stands for Learning Management System. Learning Management System is typically a system that allows you to host and then track content, such as a quiz. And so there are a lot of different LMSs out there. You've got open source models, such as Moodle, and you've got for-pay players in the market, such as Blackboard. And the key thing here is that all LMSs are a little bit different in terms of the standards that they support and the languages that they speak. So, for example, down here, the output options from Quizmaker, in terms of reporting and tracking, we've got SCORM 1.2, SCORM 2004, AICC, and the Tin Can API. These are all ways that Quizmaker can speak to your LMS and allow the LMS to track how a learner is doing on a quiz. Key here is that you want to make sure that you're outputting your information from Quizmaker in the format that your LMS can understand. So that's where you'll want to work with your LMS administrator to make sure that you're outputting it in the correct format. So with that said, in terms of the LMS, typically once you output your information, you publish for the LMS, you're going to get a lot of info here. You're going to get a lot of the same things that we've seen in terms of the quiz, the launcher files, but now you're also going to get all of this XML and data for the LMS. Typically what you do, and again, every LMS is a little bit different, you would take all of this information, you would zip it up. So you would send it to a zip file, and then this zip file is what gets loaded to your LMS, and then you choose which page is going to launch first. Typically this index_LMS is going to be the page that you would point to. So that's a little bit about LMS output, but again, really make sure that you touch base with your LMS administrator, and they can help you understand these dynamics and get you set up. Now let's take a look at CD output. If you'd like to send your learners the quiz on a CD, there are two steps. Step number 1, select CD and publish. So what's going to happen then is you will receive a folder with these files. Now, step number 2, after you publish it out, is to put these files onto the CD itself. Here's the trick. Make sure that you take these files and put them into the root directory of the CD so they can all be there loose. Don't take this folder and burn this folder with the files inside of it to the CD. You want these files to be loose. The reason for that is because when you put these files, you put the CD into the computer is going to see this auto run file right here, and it's going to say, hey, open up this executable file and launch the quiz. So if you have all of these files sitting inside a folder that you've burned to the CD, it's not going to see this auto run file. So just a quick tip there, make sure that these files are in the root directory. So that's about publishing to the CD. Next up, we have publishing to Word. Now, if you wish to publish to Microsoft Word, and this is a great option for sending information, say, to a subject matter expert or to a client for review, all you have to do is select Word, give it a title, and then choose whether you want all the quiz details or just the questions only. Now, I've gone ahead, I've just got 2 questions here. I've got a drag and drop and a multiple choice, but I've gone ahead and published one out with full quiz details. So let's take a look at what that looks like. You will get, as it says, all of the details. You'll get all of the quiz settings. So what's the passing score? Let me zoom in there a little bit so you can see a little bit better. You'll receive whether the questions are randomized or not, how many question groups, total number of questions. So you get all of the great details here at a glance. Now, in terms of the questions themselves, you'll get the question title. You'll get a visual of the question. What's the slide look like? You'll get all of the options and choices. And if I come down here, take a look at this multiple choice test, you will see how many points it's worth, how many attempts that they've got permitted, the correct choice here, so you get all the choices, what's the correct choice, and then the feedback that they're going to receive. So you get all of the information. This is, once again, this is a really great way then for, say, the client or the subject matter expert to go through, make some changes right here, give you some feedback, and then you can go back into Quizmaker and make those changes. So that's a little bit about publishing from Word. Once again, we've got Presenter, we've got Web, Articulate Online, LMS, CD, and Word, and they are all great ways to get your quiz out there into the wild and let your learners interact with it. So those are your options in terms of publishing out from Quizmaker. And again, just want to encourage you to experiment with them, and especially on the LMS here, work with your administrator to make sure that you've got the correct the settings, and you are ready to go. In the meantime, should you have any questions, please join us in the eLearning Heroes community. Stop on by the forums, hang out with us. We'll be there with thousands of other e-learning professionals sharing tips, best practices, and getting you the help that you need to turn you into an e-learning hero. Thanks for watching this tutorial, and take care.